Hello Gunners, the following day, you know the drill. We bring up all the reactions from rival fans, just fans in general, after watching Arsenal playing. A nice 2-0 win for the Gunners against Atletico Bilbao to kick off our Champions League campaign. But people are saying we're the most boring team for getting 3 points. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe, hit the like as well. And of course, you know the drill, a massive shout out to the guys at Dragon Jersey. If you want to get Arsenal kits like this, past, present, I very much recommend them. You can use code Fanatics for 10% off. I really do recommend them. But yeah, let's get straight into it. And yeah, I was scrolling through Twitter, I was scrolling through TikTok, you know, as you do after a game, see what the general consensus is. And I saw a lot of Arsenal fans upset that we were a bit pragmatic and that Nwaneri didn't start and all of these stuff, and saying Merino is one of the worst players in the world. Why is he starting? Look, the general consensus with the Arsenal fans is that Merino is a defensive midfielder. But I just want to say one thing. Merino is one of the best box midfielders, or if you want to call it that, second strikers in Europe. In terms of his best position for me is when he's in and around that box, when he can find little passes, get shots off, attack the box. That's when he's at his best. And you know, when you have someone that can do that but also do the defensive side of the midfield and do the passing side, he was involved for our second goal, is very valuable. So I feel as though with Arsenal fans, it's kind of misinterpreted the role of Mikel Merino and what his best position is. And I think when you stop seeing him as a defensive midfielder, more of a second striker or someone that could influence the game further up the pitch, you'll start seeing why he starts games. And the intensity of Atletico Bilbao, it just really did make sense. But let's move on to this rival fan. He's actually a Barcelona fan, and what he had to say about Arsenal and Champions League and watching us play, and just have a listen.
I will never watch another Arsenal game in my entire life. They have got to be the most boring football club ever to watch. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch Arsenal play. How does Arsenal have some of the best players in the world but still circulate the ball so slow? Arteta, what are you having these players do? Are you putting like bricks in their socks? They're playing so slow. None of them are attacking. None of them are trying to score. Like, no one's trying to for a team that plays in a league that's known for intensity and physicality, they have none of it. They have absolutely none of it. They will never win the Premier League. They will never win the Champions League under Arteta. You have spent over 1 billion euros and you still are struggling to beat a mid-table La Liga team. That is how down bad you are. Liverpool would be beating this team 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I mean, like, it's disgusting. Liverpool, when they play bad, are beat Arsenal. Like, I don't even know, bro. This Arsenal team, I will just never watch them again, bro. They're the most boring club. They could be in a Champions League final, bro. I will not watch them unless Barcelona's in it.
I mean, do we care if this guy never wants to watch us again? We're not here for your entertainment. If that's what you're here to watch Arsenal about, entertainment, I want to see you ship in 12 goals and score 13 goals. Football is not a basketball game. It's not meant to be that. It's meant to be really controlled. You're meant to really you're meant to control what you can control. That's the best part of football. The best coaches are able to control much of football as they can. And that's what Mikel Arteta's Arsenal's all about. You know, we may not be like Liverpool throwing the ball forward, but then even that point of Liverpool can score 5 or 6 against this Bilbao team. Did we not just watch Liverpool struggle over the line against Burnley? Did we not watch them struggle over the line against Newcastle, who had 9 men they scored in the last minute? Did we not see them against Bournemouth in the first game of the season struggling over the line? Even against us, yes, they beat us, fair play, congratulations to you. But did we not see them have to have a worldie to beat us? So this general consensus that Arsenal are boring, who have the best positive goal difference in the Premier League, have scored 2 goals in the Champions League to get their Champions League campaign running, I don't get it. You know, people are starting to sort of see Atletico Bilbao as scrubs. I said this in my match review yesterday. They're third in La Liga. You know, they are what I would describe as Newcastle of Spain. It's like Arsenal going to St. James's Park and limiting them to minimal chances and scoring 2 goals like that. That's what I feel like people need to start recognizing that game was. It's like going to St. James's Park, the atmosphere, the players, the mid-block. That is how Newcastle United play. And you saw how Arsenal had the players to come in to change the game into our way. That is what Arsenal is about now. You know, I know it frustrates people that Arsenal aren't scoring 50 goals and they're not flooding everyone up front so that they can see chances. That's just not the way forward. If you want to be one of the best teams, one of the top teams, you need to control what's going backwards before you can control what's going forward. I think we have all the individuals, phenomenal players, players that can impact the game in different ways. So this general idea that Arsenal are very boring with the attacking talent that we have, I think it's so far-fetched. And it's funny that a Barcelona fan says this because they are always complaining about their defense and how they don't do enough to prevent goals and they're just all about attacking. They need some control. It's crazy, you know. I think people just like the idea that Arsenal are Simeone like, Atletico Madrid like, they're boring, they don't want to move forward, they don't want to create chances, I hear him say. How can a team that beat Leeds 5-0, Forest 3-0, who are in European places, against Liverpool, we took a really cheap goal to get them. Manchester United to win 1-0, a game in which we were physically undercooked away at Old Trafford. It's bouncing. You know, people are lacking context when analysing Arsenal. Look, if you had given Liverpool the start that we've had in the Premier League and they got the wins that they are now, people would see it different. You know, if Liverpool were doing what we did, you know, it's just that it's Arsenal. It's just that it's us. People have an issue. People want to put us in this corner that we're boring, that we're not entertaining, that Mikel Arteta doesn't care about going forward. That's not fair. That's not how football should be analysed, in my opinion. I think people are completely missing the point when they analyse Arsenal Football Club. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. But it is what it is. I feel as though what I've sort of learnt is you can't be going into matches expecting rival fans to congratulate you. You can't be expecting a 2-0 win where players off the bench, our brilliant squad depth was on show. Look at how good Mosquera was. Rival fans don't understand it. You know, we've got who? Havertz out, Saka out, Erdegaard out, Saliba out. Look, no one complains if they're starting week in, week out. That's our best 11 out from last season, injured. And we're still finding solutions. We're still able to use our squad. I'm seeing a lot of people hounding on Eberechieze, saying he had a stinker. I'm seeing all these things. Same with Gyökeres had a stinker. Look, the best teams have players to recover those situations when players aren't playing well. We've not had that once under Mikel Arteta. I think this is the first time under Mikel Arteta we have players who we can look at the bench and be like, you know what, Eze, you're not playing your best right now. Let's bring on Martinelli. You know what, Gyökeres, you're not playing your best. Let's bring on Trossard. We can even do in-game changes because everyone's so versatile. Okay, let's move Eze to the 10, bring off Merino, put Trossard left, put Martinelli. Look, there's solutions for Arsenal that we haven't seen before. So I think before you can call us boring, look at the games going on this season. Look more into the future. Look at our next fixtures. We've had really tough starts. You know, the Newcastle of Spain. We've got actual Newcastle in a couple of weeks' time. We've got Manchester City at home. We've had to play Liverpool away, United away, Forest at home, Leeds, who are off the back of a win. We had to play them at home. Look, these games aren't easy to just go in and dominate and create 50,000 chances. Look, if Arsenal win the Premier League, and we concede less than 15 goals, that Chelsea record, everybody will be calling it a masterclass. I feel like we just got to block out the noise, focus on what we can focus on, and just know that we're doing the right things to go about and win games. But that's it for now, and until next time, peace.